Hey everyone, Elite Trainer CJ here, and today we have another Pokemon Go PvP Sinister Cup video. So this video is going to go over the alternatives that I think would be pretty good in the PvP tournament of the Sinister Cup. And I'll give the reasons why when we go through the list of the Pokemon, go over the stats, go over the movesets, and why I think these Pokemon would do pretty good in the Sinister Cup. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's get started. But first, make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so that you won't miss another video. Let's get started. Alright, so this list is not going to be a top 5, it's actually going to have 7. So really, it's going to have 7 Pokemon that I'm just going to go through and go ahead and give my opinion of the Pokemon and give you guys the typing, stats, and movesets. So let's get started. Alright, so the first one on the list, not in any particular order, is Mawile, or Mawile. I say Mawile. That's just how I am. Max CP of 1,634, ranking in 269th in Pokemon Go. HP of 118, ranking in at 352. Attack of 155, ranking in at 239. Defense of 141, ranking in at 222. And stamina of 137, ranking in at 354. So this Pokemon, stat-wise, it doesn't really seem all that much, but it is a pretty good typing, and for PvP, I guess just the new movesets that it got, it definitely helps it out a little bit. And there's not too many weaknesses, I do believe. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and go over to the moveset and typing. So it is a Steel and Fairy type, so it's only weak to Fire and Ground type. And it's resistant to Poison, Dark, Ice, Psychic, Normal, Grass, Rock, Flying, Fairy, Bug, and Dragon. So as you can see, Ghost does neutral damage for it, so really all the other ones like Psychic, Flying, some normal that you would see in this tournament would actually not do much damage to it at all. But like Alola Marowak, it could actually deal some great damage with that Fire and Ground type movesets. If you look at the quick move, you can learn Bite, Astonish, Fire Fang, and Ice Fang, and as you can see, Ice Fang and Fire Fang do the most damage. EPS wise, Ice Fang does a lot more damage, and I will say DPS wise, Fire Fang is better, but I would say personally Ice Fang would be nice, especially against Pokemon like Drifblim, who is a Flying and Ghost typing. That way you can attack with Ice Fang, or you can also use Bite just because it's fast. But I would say Ice Fang because that EPS is really good. Same with Astonish. Really, you should do Astonish or Ice Fang because EPS is actually really good on that. The main move set is Vice Grip, Iron Head, Play Rough, and Power Up Punch. So I would say you can go with Iron Head and Power Up Punch, or Play Rough and Power Up Punch, because Power Up Punch is going to increase your attack stat. So really, that means Mawile can actually hit harder. So and it gains energy really quick because it's a very small charge to do Power Up Punch. Let's go ahead and let's look at the next Pokemon. Next up on the list is Dusclops with the max CP of 1,591, ranking in at 272 in Pokemon Go. HP of 105, ranking in at 431. Attack of 124, ranking in at 329th. Defense of 234, which is a number 17. Actually, really good stat right there. Stamina of 120, ranking in at 433. So as you can see, all the stats except for defense are just atrocious, honestly. But that defense is going to make it so it can take hits pretty well, even though it can be weak to a good amount. Speaking of moves, speaking of typing and movesets, let's go ahead and let's look at it. It is a full Ghost type, so it's only weak to Dark and Ghost type, so Psychic type does normal damage. Resistant to Bud, Poison, Fighting, and Normal typing. And then as you can see from the quick move, it is Feint Attack and Hets. You can do Feint Attack if you want to just do some good damage to Psychic type Pokemon or Ghost type Pokemon. Or you can do Hets, which would gain you energy faster. And then for your main move, you can do Ice Punch, Shadow Punch, and Fire Punch. And of course, Shadow Punch is stab, so I'd say definitely have that. And then if you want coverage for like Mawile or something, you can do Fire Punch, or you can do Ice Punch for your flying type Pokemon. Really, you can do any of these, but Shadow Punch is definitely the one that you want to use the most. But yes, overall this Pokemon I think is not too bad. It could be better, of course, stat-wise. And moveset-wise, honestly, because Shadow Punch and Hets aren't really the most ideal Ghost-type moves. But it has interesting coverage with Ice Punch and Fire Punch. But yes, Dusclops is on the list. Let's go ahead and see what the next one is. Next up on the list is Delayed, with a match CP of 3093, ranking in 41st in Pokemon Go. HP of 143, ranking in at 209. Attack of 237, ranking in at number 40. Defense of 195, ranking in at number 57. And stamina of 169, ranking in at 210. So as you can see, this Pokemon is actually pretty good. As you can see with the attack and defense stat, that is where it holds the higher rankings. Of course, the attack because of that fighting typing. That is a very good thing when it comes to Delayed, so that it can hit, but it can also take hits. Let's go ahead and let's look at the typing and the moveset. So it is a Psychic and Fighting type, so that means it is weak to Fairy type, Flying type, Ghost type, and then it's resistant to Fighting type and Rock type. So that means Pokemon like Alolan Marowak, Mawile, those might have a little bit of an advantage on it, especially like Drifblim, because it's flying and ghost typing. But it can actually hold its own, I do believe. So as you can see with the quick move set, it can learn Low Kick, Confusion, and Charm. Charm does a lot of damage. You could use that, and you can also use Confusion. I would probably say Confusion, just because it gains energy just a little bit quicker than Charm. But you can have Charm for type coverage if you wanted to. With the main move set, Psychic, Leaf Blade, Close Combat, and Synchronoise, which is a Community Day move. Psychic just got updated to a 2-charge move, so that means Psychic will actually, gain energy a lot quicker. Well, it gains energy the same amount as whatever quick move you have, but the bar to fill it is actually quicker than it was before. So Psychic is actually the second best Psychic type move, which is really good. So I would say definitely use Psychic. You can do Leaf Blade for coverage, or you can do Close Combat. Probably Close Combat if you want to go up against your Steel type Pokemon like Bastiodon or Steelix. So Psychic and Close Combat would be pretty good. If only you had Power Punch though, right? Alright, so yes, Delayed is on this list. Let's go ahead and see what the next Pokemon on the list is. So up next is Claydol with a match CP of 1,971, ranking in at 212th in Pokemon Go. HP of 132, ranking in at 289th. Attack stat of 140, ranking in at 281. Defense of 229, ranking in at 19th in Pokemon Go. Stamina of 155, ranking in at 299. So as you can see, the defense stat is the best stat for Claydol. And so that means it can take hits, and the attack is, I guess, okay. But as you can see, when we go to the typing and moveset, it is a ground and psychic type. So it is very weak to water, dark, ice, grass, bud, and ghost. So it does have a lot of weaknesses. But if you're going up against like your fighting types or psychic types or poison typing, it is very resistant to those. And it's also resistant to electric and rock. The quick move set is Confusion, Extrasensory, and Mud Slap. So you can use either Extrasensory or Confusion. Those are really good EPS if you want to do... I mean, either of these moves are stab, but actually none of them are that bad. I would say probably Confusion or Extrasensory is your ideal move set to go to for quick moves. When it comes to the charged moves, it has Earthquake, Psychic, Gyro Ball, and Earth Power. Earth Power is actually a very good move, I do believe. So you could do that on top of Psychic. That would do a lot of damage right there. Or you could do Psychic and Gyro Ball if you want type coverage. Overall, I think this Pokemon's half decent. It's a tank, so if you want to stall a little bit, go ahead and use this Pokemon, but be aware of the weaknesses that it has, because there is a lot of them. But yes, let's go ahead and see what's next on the list. Up next is Girafarig, with a max CP of 2046, ranking in at 199 in Pokemon Go, HP of 146, ranking in at 187, attack of 182, ranking in at 149, defense of 133, ranking in 254th, and stamina of 172, ranking in at 185. Overall, this Pokemon's not terrible. The defense is the lowest stat, so it won't take hits as well as you would hope it would, but just the typing alone is actually pretty good for this tournament, for the Sinister Cup. And we will see in just a second. Let's actually do that. Is a normal and psychic type, so it is only weak to Bug and Dark type, but it is resistant to Ghost type and Psychic type. So there are really good Ghost type Pokemon in this tournament, and a couple good Psychic types as well. So really, if you just wanna, tank out against Ghost types like your Mawile, your Alolan Marowak, your Haunter, your Drifblims, your Dusclops, go ahead and use Girafarig because that resistance is really good for it, and you can learn Confusion or Tackle for the quick move set. I would definitely say Confusion for stab, especially if you're going up against Ghost types. Or you can do Tackle, but that won't do much to Ghosts at all, so I would say Confusion. That EPS is not that far away from each other. And then your main moveset is Thunderbolt, Psychic, and Beercoat. I would say to use Thunderbolt and Psychic because Psychic, for one, is a 2-charge move for PvP. And so you can charge it up actually fairly quickly. And then you can also have Thunderbolt for type coverage. So like against your Poliwraths, against your Drifblims, any water types, any flying types that would come up in this tournament. Overall, this Pokemon, I think, is very interesting, and it could play a very good role if you go up against a team that has a good amount of Ghost types. I'm probably going to use one, actually, so don't tell anybody. But yes, Girafarig is actually pretty good for this tournament. Let's go ahead and see what the next Pokemon is. Alright, so up next is Probopass with a max CP of 2080, ranking in at 190 in Pokemon Go, HP of 132, ranking in at 291, attack stat of 135, ranking at 303, defense of 275, ranking in at 6th in Pokemon Go. That is a nice stat right there. Stamina of 155, ranking in at 300 in Pokemon Go as well. As you can see, it is a tank when it comes to the defense, so it will take hits really well. And actually, the movesets that it has, well, the typing, of course, first is Rock and Steel typing, so it's only weak to ground. Actually, it's 4 times weak to ground and fighting, and then it's 2 times weak against water type. So do be aware of your fighting types, or like really just like your Poliwraths, or even like your Bone Club from Alolan Marowak, or your Metachan, but it is resistant to Dragon, Ice, Fairy, Bud, Rock, Flying, Normal, and Poison. So it has a really good amount of resistances, but it does have those 4 times weaknesses to Ground and Fighting, so do be aware of that. But the good thing about the weakness to Water typing is that its moveset actually has a coverage for that. So it has Spark and Rock Throw, and I would say use Spark, especially if you're going up against a Poliwrath and you can't switch out. Spark your Savion. And then you can also learn Rock Slide, Magnet Bomb, and Thunderbolt. So I would say Rock Slide, Magnet Bomb, maybe Rock Slide and Thunderbolt. If you really want to have that type coverage against the water typing. So really, this Pokemon's just a tank. And it has a lot of resistances, so I will say this is a pretty good Pokemon to use in the Sinister Cup tournament. Let's go ahead and see what the next Pokemon is. Alright, so the last Pokemon on this list is Poliwrath, and look at that shiny. With a max CP of 2,586, ranking in on 101 in Pokemon Go. HP of 173, ranking in at 80. Attack of 182, ranking in at 151. Defense of 184, ranking in at 86, and stamina of 207, ranking in at 85th. So overall, this Pokemon is very defensive, but it can also hit too. As you can see, it's a fairly evened out stat-wise. So you can take hits, it can give hits, but it does have its weaknesses, of course. But let's look ahead and see the typing and moveset. It is a water and fighting type. So it's weak to Fairy type, Flying type, Psychic, Electric, and Grass. But it is resistant to Steel, Water, Bug, Rock, Ice, Dark, and Fire. So if you're going up against your Steelits, it is very good against it. Especially since it is a Steel type and Ground type, because you can have a Water type moveset or a Fighting type moveset and it do really well against Steelits or Bastiodon. So I would say this is definitely a Steelits, Probopass, and Bastiodon counter. It can learn Bubble, Rod Smash, and Mud Shot for the quick moveset. I will say if you have a Mud Shot Legacy moveset, definitely have that. But if you don't, go ahead and use Bubble. Both the EPS on Bubble and Mud Shot have the same amount, so go ahead and use either one, but Bubble does do a little bit more damage. And then for your main moveset, you have Ice Punch, Hydro Pump, Dynamic Punch, Power Punch, and Submission for the Legacy moveset. So I will say use Bubble with Power Punch, of course, just because it powers it up. Do not use Hydro Pump just because it takes so long to charge up. You can use Ice Punch for coverage, or you can use Dynamic Punch if you want just a good fighting type. But I would say probably for myself, I'm going to do Power Punch and Ice Punch with Bubble. But yes, that is Poliwrath right there. I will say that this Pokemon does seem very good for this tournament. And yeah, that is the last Pokemon on this list. So what do you guys think of these alternatives that I have listed for you guys? Do you have any other suggestions down in the comment section down below? I know Cresselia is actually really good, but I do not have one that would be, it's too high CP. So really all you have to do is trade it and hope that it gets below that 1500 CP. But yes, that is the downfall, and that's why I did not put that on this list. There's also a couple others that I did not list. But if you want to look at Pokemon that are good for this Sinister Cup, and you want to look past like your top 5s, then go ahead and go to pvpoke.com. You can go ahead and see the different tournaments. Actually, you can look at Great League, Ultra League, Master League, and then you can also look at the different cups that they have listed, that all the previous cups that they've had, and also current and future. Well, they don't have any future ones because we don't know what the future ones hold. But you can definitely see some really good Pokemon for the Sinister Cup or any other previous ones if you guys end up doing like a Mirror Cup or want to have ideas of, Pokemon to use in different tournaments, or if you want to set up your own tournament and you want to do something different, you can see the meta really for like whatever you want. They have a lot of different options on there, so go ahead and check it out, pvpoke.com. I used it for this list, and I used a CP chart to look, CP chart and DPS and EPS lists charts for the typing and movesets. So yeah, I do use both of the. I do a lot of research on pvpoke, that's for sure. But yes, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also, Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that way you won't miss another video. I'm Elite Trainer CJ, and I'll see you guys later. Let me know how you do in your Sinister Cup. Mine should be in a week or so, for practice at least. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Let me know what you want for the next video down in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys later.